Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined with Jet, who's flown all the way from Chicago to be with us with her movie, Places of Worship. Let's take a look at the clip.
Fuck. Theater 2's out in 5. Damn. I should go home.
Jet, thank you for being with us.
I'm so excited to be here.
Flying over here to be with us. We're so happy.
Yes.
And welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. We'll never let you go. That's it now.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm happy to be here. I am. It's an honor to be
We're
part of
happy
the
to
community.
have you.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing your film for us.
Thank you.
For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
So it's about this young girl who is an altar server in the Catholic Church, and she starts to have sexual visions of the Virgin Mary, both in her religious life and in her secular life, and her sexual life. That too. And so we see her battle with paranoia around her queerness and how she identifies and her religious upbringing.
It's a brilliant story, and it's a really Brit story, and it's also really, I just love the lead character and just that, coming of age discovery and just all of those different things that come with that as well. Where did this inspiration come from for bringing out this story?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how I grew up in Las Vegas, and although this film is not about Las Vegas, I think all of the sexual exposure I had growing up, Las Vegas is a very sexual place.
Yeah.
Women are very sexualized. It's
Yeah.
very normal to have half-naked women on billboards, on the way to school even. Like, it's a very normalized part of the culture. And so I think that, like, in my own coming of age with my queerness, so much of that media and influence of, like, sexualizing women kind of got twisted in how I felt about myself. And, like, I grew up very religious in Las Vegas. And so those two things were kind of like the impetus for this story, even though it's not set in Las Vegas.
I mean, that's honestly, such a unique experience that you've had, Jet. Just goodness me. Vegas is such a unique place to the entire world, isn't it? Right? And then having the kind of religious background as well, and queerness and all the things, that's a lot to unpack for yourself,
Definitely.
And so, and this film it was really nice to see a film this open and this sort of celebration of discovering of queerness, but then dealing with religion and everything you just kind of mentioned, really, really clever story. How did you go about bringing your cast together for this? Because I loved everyone. Everyone just had a really great part to play, and no matter what character it was, I was like, I really love this character you brought into the surface.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty difficult project to cast. I think mostly because I knew that we needed to have compassion for this lead character. I didn't think that the film wouldn't work if we didn't feel like we could really relate to this person struggling. And so I was really looking for the right personality, and I actually ended up casting the film for this lead role and firing the lead actor a week before the shoot, because in my gut, I just knew that this person wasn't the right person for the role. I kind of rushed the process. And so I was reaching out to friends on Instagram, and the person who plays the lead, Steph, Virginia, is actually somebody I went to high school with.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so she was a couple years younger than me in high school. And I don't know what it was. I just felt something, and I just was like, hey, can you put this on tape today and let me know? And it was like a no-brainer. And I called them and I said, can I fly you out in a week? I think you are the person for this. And so it was a little bit of a roundabout way of going about it, but the movie doesn't work without Virginia, they really embody this character.
Yeah.
And they're funny, they're awkward, they're just going through it. And I think that is the thing that helps us facilitate the story.
That's amazing. I love that. And I think when you have those instincts and that gut feeling, you kind of, you have to go there, but then you got someone you went to high school with. That's just brilliant. What was it like for you, Jet, directing this piece? There were so many different scenes, and I kind of love even just the relationship in the movie theater and just in the church and everything. I just love all these relationships that she develops. How is it kind of directing your actors in this particular process?
Yeah, so I am an actor by nature.
Yes.
I went to the theater school at DePaul. I got my BFA in acting. I was acting professionally for a couple of years. And that's kind of how I got into filmmaking, because I didn't really enjoy the roles I was going out for. I didn't enjoy the process of auditioning.
Yeah.
And I just really found that like I would have more fun being a storyteller. So I think that like when I'm directing actors, I come from an actor's perspective. You know, I talk to actors the way I would want to be talked to.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my acting education was about self-direction and directing with a scene partner and putting a scene on its feet without a lot of external direction. And so I think I really approach that through my actors as well, and talking to them as if giving them empowerment to bring ideas to the table, as opposed to being really prescriptive. I'm a very character-driven person. I'm really interested in people. And so that to me is the number one priority in my filmmaking. Despite visuals, which are important, and all these things, like, to me, the meat is the characters and their journey.
And you had some really great visuals in there as well. I mean, you know, we got to be mystified into, you know, this world that you created. I was like, oh my goodness, she's here. It's amazing. Kind of, you know, taking in that, it's always really refreshing to see, you know, a queer-led character, particularly a coming-of-age story, and particularly for a female lens. We don't really see enough of it. Is that something that like is important to you in your filmmaking and your journey of filmmaking as a creative?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I intentionally avoid or not avoid, but I'm just always writing about women. You know, I grew up with 3 sisters, and I think that like women are interesting to me, obviously. And I think that, I don't know if I would tell another like queer paranoia story per se, but you know, I'm all for having more just complex queer characters that just exist in many ways. And ultimately this film is so much more about like self-discovery than it is about like a relationship. You know, 100%. It's like about her internal journey, and again, how she identifies in all different areas of her life. And it is a true coming of age, and in that way it like makes it universal, you know? Yeah,
most definitely. And just learning about what you want, what you don't want in your life. And it's such a big journey in that self-discovery of what you said. I mean, you know, and you literally see her self-discovering so much in this film, which is you know, it does make it really, really universal. What have you learned mostly from making this project?
I learned that it's important to be patient. This was about a 2-year process, from writing to funding to post to then our first festival. And I really appreciated that process, because I think making things the right way and the intentional way is more important than rushing something. So I think having a lot of tenacity throughout the ups and downs, especially when it comes to financing, like, it was very difficult. I applied for, you know, 20 grants, and I did end up getting 2 grants, which is still very difficult odds, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
So I think that like sticking through things and constantly refining my vision throughout that process was really important, because I think that if I had gone with a first or second draft, so to speak, I wouldn't have been forced to really dig deeper into like what I wanted to say, and not jumping at the first opportunity to make something that I kind of liked on paper.
Well, obviously you've flown here, which we really are so happy to have you here.
Oh no, I get to be in 75-degree weather for
isn't
5
it?
days.
Enjoy yourself, absolutely. But it's also so nice because you know, you're in this one day of amazing filmmakers. It's obviously our LGBTQ plus celebration of stories. How is the feeling being in film festivals? We're so excited to have your film tomorrow. Like, what's that experience like for you as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I actually am really honored to be part of like an exclusively queer lineup of films, because a lot of the fests I've played have not been that. In fact, I thought that might be the journey of the film, and the film tells you the journey on its own. It has a life of its own. So I am delighted to be part of like a queer lineup, because I've had some really differing responses in the audience participation and the audience engagement. And so I think that I think this is going to resonate in a very different way than it has, for example, at my screening in Florida. Yeah,
absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think that's and every audience is different experience as well. But no, I think you're going to have a really, really good time. Well, listen, we're obviously very excited for Place of Worship tomorrow, but what is next on the horizon for you? Is there any other journeys you're taking this to next?
Yeah, so I am finishing up my Sundance Ignite Fellowship, which is a year-long fellowship. It has been such an amazing journey of community making and being part of this community of filmmakers and the artist support there is really been fantastic, and I've learned so much about myself. I'm really at the point in my career where I am, again, committed to making thoughtful pieces, and I'm not in a rush. And so I am going to be doing another short film, this time set in Las Vegas.
Yeah, back to the hometown.
Back to the hometown, yeah. I don't think that there's much representation of people who grow up in Las Vegas, let alone women and young people. And I really want to put that in the cinema canon. I think that lens is really interesting, and I think that there's a desire for it in a way that's not so black and white about tourists and men. And again, like, what does it look to like flip this like sexual nature of Las Vegas from this like almost male gaze perspective? Like Las Vegas is almost like a male gaze city. So I'm at the point in my career where I'm really excited to like offer that to the world. So fantastic. I'm looking for financing for my short, because
financing, please. Financing. Okay.
You know, Las Vegas and casinos are difficult to shoot in. So
yeah, no, absolutely. No, well, listen, you deserve it, and I'm glad that you, being from Las Vegas, are being able to sort of share your stories and perspective and experience, and I think that's really, really important what you said as well. But we are so happy to have you at Power Festival. You're gonna really love tomorrow. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for bringing places of worship.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.